In the middle of a dense forest, a sloth has just woken up after a long hibernation. Suddenly, the animal is attacked by a crocodile, which grabs him with its mouth and pulls him underwater. Despite having been captured, the sloth manages to escape from the river and is extremely furious at having been attacked by the predator. Taking advantage of the animal's distraction, a pair of hunters gets closer and closer, and using their tranquilizer darts, they manage to knock their target out. With that, the men leave with the animal and don't even realize that the crocodile that had attacked the sloth has been eliminated by its claws. Far away, Emily and her friend walk together through the mall, and the young woman reveals that she is extremely anxious because they are in their final year at university, so they want to make this the best year ever. With that, the student reveals that she has even considered running for president of the sorority, but Madison says that would be impossible, since Brianna has never lost to any of her competitors. At the end of the conversation, the girl says goodbye to her friend and leaves, but at that moment, Emily notices that a small dog is running alone through the area and is about to collide with a couple of boys. Emily quickly rushes to the animal, and after rescuing it from the accident, she is congratulated by Oliver, the children's father, and together they decide to post a photo on their social networks. Upon entering her new friend's profile, the girl comes across a post about adopting a sloth that was rescued from the local forest. Realizing that the young woman is very interested in the animal, Oliver tells her that he is looking for a new owner for it, and after handing over his contact card, he leaves. A few days later, Brianna goes to her university, and after arriving at her sorority party, she gets the help of her team, so that they can finish the preparations for the election of university president, where the girl intends to win for the third year in a row. In her room, Emily goes to her window, and while watching the students, she is surprised by an intruder, and kicks him in his critical parts, stunning the young man instantly. Realizing that her friend might be in danger, Zenny enters the room with her katana and lunges at the man, striking a painful blow. However, the student realizes that it's actually Tyler, her boyfriend, and orders Zenny to stop attacking him. When she realizes that the young man was not a threat, the young woman leaves in shame, and Emily tries to help her partner, who reveals that he climbed into the room to surprise her. During the night, the young woman looks at a board with all the presidents the university has ever elected, one of whom is her own mother. At home, Oliver runs his illegal wildlife sales website, and after giving the sloth a big scare as a joke, he decides not to apply the drugs to the animal, as it doesn't appear to be ill. Pondering everything she has heard, Emily decides to contact the criminal, who asks her to meet him at his house the next day so she can pick up her newest pet. So the man takes the poor sloth out of its cage, but at that moment, the animal uses its sharp claws to scratch Oliver several times, causing him to lose his balance and fall to the ground, allowing the animal to finish its target. In the morning, Emily goes to the illegal trader's house, and noticing that the front door is unlocked, she decides to go in and start searching the place while calling for her friend. During her investigation, the girl finds the weak tablet lying on the ground, and soon afterwards she comes across the completely frightened sloth. Concerned about the animal's condition, the university student approaches it, and after taking it on her lap, the young woman realizes that a large predator is on the loose in the house, and decides to leave so that it won't be attacked. At the university, Brianna talks to her presidential team, and Gabby reveals that Emily is planning to run for president of the fraternity, which makes the girl extremely angry. Just then, Emily arrives on the scene and is intercepted by Brianna, who orders her to show her what she's hiding in her box. During the argument, the girls fight over the object, which ends up being thrown off the ladder and falling to the ground. Trying to understand what attacked it, the sloth tries to sneak out of the box and is rescued by Emily. Noticing that all the students are interested in getting close to the animal, the young woman feels relieved and introduces the animal as the university's newest mascot. Furious Brianna tries to intimidate the girl, who in response decides to declare that she will run for president of the sorority, causing the college girls to become extremely excited. In her room, Emily is having fun with her new pet, but just then, Madison appears and scolds her friend, saying that the sloth is a wild animal, so it needs to stay in its natural habitat. During the conversation, the girls realize that the pet is trying to devour a flower, and to prevent the animal from eating something that could cause it harm, the young girl tries to remove the plant from its mouth. However, Sloth doesn't allow this to happen and bites one of Madison's hands, who leaves in a rage. Soon afterwards, Zenny goes to her friend and tells her that the publications about Emily's new pet are becoming more and more famous. As a result, the pair talk about the possible campaigns they could run during the election, and in order to get even more people talking about them, the students decide to name their mascot Alpha. In the president's office, Brianna orders her aides to sabotage Emily's campaign and to have the university mascot eliminated as soon as possible. During the evening, the students decide to throw a big party at the institution, where the long-awaited meeting of the candidates will take place. While getting ready to go to the get-together, Emily comes across Madison's computer, which is open on a news site, along with a note from her friend. On approaching the device, the young woman discovers that a large number of wild animals have been rescued from the home of a criminal, who appears to have been eliminated at the same location. Believing that her pet will be safer in her company, Emily decides to ignore the news, and after talking to her sloth, she begins to get ready for the big party. Bored, the animal climbs onto his owner's chair, and with the help of the laptop, which is open in front of him, he starts scouring Emily's social networks. Looking through the university students' posts, Alpha comes across the selfie she had posted alongside Oliver, and when he remembers all the harm the criminal had done to him, he becomes enraged, as he feels completely betrayed by the young woman. A few hours later, Emily arrives at the party accompanied by Tyler and Gabby, and so that she can run her presidential campaign, the girl asks Sarah to take care of the fraternity's mascot. Soon afterwards, the trio leaves, and noticing that one of her assistants has managed to capture the animal, Brianna orders the young woman to get rid of it. So Sarah takes Alpha outside, where she waits until all the students have entered the building, so that she can leave the animal. Despite feeling extremely guilty about what she is about to do, the young woman knows she has no choice, and leaves the sloth in the middle of the lawn to be blown away by the storm. With that, Sarah returns to the party, and in order to distract herself from the atrocity she has just done, the girl decides to go to one of her friends and invite him to have fun with her. Furious at having been abandoned yet again, Alpha climbs into the fraternity building and, taking advantage of his target's distraction, slips some of the pills into the young woman's glass. As soon as she consumes her drink, Sarah begins to feel weak and falls to the ground. Realizing that his prey is incapacitated, Alpha begins to approach in a bizarre way, and using his claws, he finishes the student off by attacking her throat. In the party room, Brianna decides to scare her competitor, and reveals that her sloth is alone somewhere on campus, waiting to be struck by lightning. Desperate, Emily runs outside and starts looking for her pet, but as she can't find him, she decides to go to her room, where she is surprised by Alpha, who hugs her as if nothing had happened. As the days go by, the sorority's election campaigns continue madly, and Emily receives more and more support from the students, making her even more popular. In addition, Alpha continues to prey on his victims in the most diverse ways possible, forging the elimination of countless female students from the university. Finally, election day arrives, and while looking for Emily, Madison comes across Zenny resting on campus next to the sloth mascot, who is tasting one of the girl's bottles of beer. Noticing that her drinks have run out, the young woman decides to get some more and asks her friend to take care of Alpha so that she doesn't hurt herself walking around the place. Disgusted that Emily is using the sloth as her campaign symbol, Madison decides to take the mascot to an animal shelter, only to be intercepted by the candidate, who begins to confront her. During the argument, Alpha took advantage of the pair's distraction and grabbed the girl's cell phone, throwing it in the middle of the street. While walking to the device, Madison ends up being hit by a vehicle, and upon witnessing the accident, Emily is completely terrified. Despite being extremely weak, the young woman manages to survive her injuries and receives a visit from her friend in hospital. Feeling guilty about everything that happened, Emily apologizes to the girl and tells her that she just wanted to do something memorable before leaving university forever. Soon after, the young woman says that her friend was right about the sloth's safety, and tells her that she will take Alpha to an animal shelter the next day. As a result, Emily remains by Madison's side, hoping that the university student can recover as soon as possible. The problem is that the big moment of the vote is getting closer and closer, and noticing that her friend is starting to worry about being late for the event, Madison asks her to leave so that she can win the election on behalf of her mother. In the university dormitory, a member of Brianna's team is getting ready to take her shower, but when she opens the shower curtains, she is surprised by Alpha, who attacks her. Meanwhile, the rest of the students begin the voting ceremony, where they will use colored flowers to count the votes. At the same time, Emily finally returns to the university, and after getting past Principal Mayflower, who is locking the entrance door to the building, she leaves her belongings in one of the rooms, and runs towards the polling station. With that, voting time begins, causing the students to line up to vote for the new president of the sorority. In Emily's room, Alpha finds his owner's cell phone on the table, and when he finds the location of the hospital where Madison is being held, he decides to set a route on the device's GPS so that he can eliminate the young woman. So Sloth grabs the keys to the car and sets off in the direction of the hospital, driving at high speed through the city streets. After the election, Emily receives the most votes and is named the newest president of the sorority, kicking off a huge celebration party where everyone dances and has a great time. Thanks to the way he is driving the vehicle, Alpha ends up attracting the attention of a police car, which, after chasing the animal for a few blocks, finally manages to catch up with him. The problem is that the sloth is no longer inside the car, as it has managed to infiltrate the hospital and reach Madison's room. Before attacking its target, the animal decides to turn off the breathing apparatus of the young woman, who is having great difficulty breathing. Soon after, the mascot climbs onto Madison's stretcher, and after taking one last selfie next to her, Alpha decides to eliminate her, removing her oxygen mask and using a pillow to finish her off. At the sorority celebration, Brianna feels extremely betrayed by her classmates, and in order to understand why she received so few votes, she goes to the girls' dormitory. Upon entering the bathroom of one of the rooms, the woman comes across the body of her friend in the bathtub, and starts screaming in despair. While walking through the corridors of the dormitory, Emily hears terrified screams coming from one of the rooms, and rushes to the student's aid. As soon as she enters the room, the young woman finds Alpha clinging to Brianna's back, who is completely terrified, and so that she can rescue her, the girl takes one of the books from the room and hits the sloth with it. Trying to prevent the demonic mascot from attacking them again, the university students run to the bathroom, and after locking the door, they try to come up with a strategy to escape. After a few minutes of planning, the girls decide to look for a weapon so that they can eliminate Alpha and alert the rest of the university. With that, the pair grab their improvised weapons and open the door, but when they see the macabre sloth calmly waiting for them, Brianna despairs and locks herself in the bathroom once again. Outraged by her colleagues' actions, Emily ends up getting distracted, and Alpha takes the opportunity to try to attack his owner, who lands a powerful blow to his body and throws him out of the window. Believing that they have managed to eliminate the creature, the girl asks her colleague to leave the bathroom, but when she looks out of the window again, she realizes that the sloth is no longer there. Worried, Emily walks through the corridors of the place, and after finding a gun hidden in one of the rooms, she decides to go to the ballroom so that she can protect the rest of the students. In the shower room, the university students perform various challenges with their freshmen, but at that moment, Alpha appears in the room and sets the showers to maximum temperature, causing one of the girls to have her body burned by the boiling water. Immediately afterwards, the animal throws one of the electrical wires to the ground, causing a huge shockwave that electrocutes all the students around. Meanwhile, Emily is sneaking around the place when she is suddenly surprised by Gabby, who tells her that the sloth has carried out a major attack in the shower room, eliminating several girls in one fell swoop. At that moment, one of the students tries to run towards the pair, but is quickly caught by Alpha, who throws himself at her. Before she could escape, Gabby ended up being caught by the creature and dragged into the room, leaving Emily terrified. Realizing that she will have no chance of recovering her weapon, the young woman decides to flee, and runs through the university while being chased by Alpha. Quickly, Emily manages to lock herself in one of the rooms, but she realizes that she has ended up with no way out, and can do nothing but watch her hooded sloth destroy the door. However, Alpha interrupts the destruction and calls out to his mistress, asking her to approach the opening he has created in the bedroom door. Trying to scare the young woman even more, the sloth throws a cell phone at Emily, who has the selfie that the animal had taken next to Madison earlier. In her office, Principal Mayflower wakes up after drinking large quantities of alcohol, and noticing the silence in the university, she decides to look for her students. With that, the woman goes to the entrance door, and after coming across the body of one of the students lying on the floor, she is surprised by Alpha, who tries to scare her even more. Despite this, the principal is not intimidated by the creature and uses a piece of wood to confront it, unleashing several attacks on its body. Soon after, Mayflower decides to run in search of survivors, and when she comes across Emily trapped in one of the rooms, the woman reveals that the threat has passed, and that Alpha has been eliminated. Relieved that she is no longer in danger, the young woman begins to walk towards the door, but at that moment, the principal is struck in the abdomen by the evil sloth, which attacks her enemy mercilessly. After a few seconds, Mayflower manages to open the dormitory door, and due to her injuries, she ends up falling to the floor. Realizing that her time is dwindling, the woman asks Emily not to make the same mistakes as her, and orders her student to do everything she can to survive. While looking at the posts from the fraternity's celebration, Tyler decides to talk to his girlfriend, but as soon as he sends a few messages to the girl, he is answered by Alpha, who reveals all the selfies that were taken with each of his victims. Concerned for his girlfriend's safety, the young man decides to go out in search of Emily, and after they meet, they try to find a way to escape the ambush. During their escape, the couple come across Zenny, who claims that she wouldn't be eliminated by a sloth, and that's why she managed to survive the attack in the showers. As a result, Emily remembers that Brianna may still be trapped in the dormitory bathroom, and together the students set off in search of the girl. When they enter the room, they sneak cautiously to the bathroom door, and after rescuing their colleague, they return to the corridors. Halfway there, Tyler is surprised by Alpha, who attacks him with his claws, seriously injuring him. Soon after, the demonic sloth manages to take down the pair of girls, and noticing that she is alone against the creature, Brianna tries to attack it with her hairspray, but ends up being captured instantly. Zenny quickly kicks the animal, which is thrown against the wall, and to finish it off, the young woman throws her sharp knives at Alpha, who manages to dodge them easily. So the student decides to use her katana against Sloth, starting a great duel. Thanks to his bizarre agility, the pet dodges most attacks, but when she notices an opening in her movements, Zenny manages to hit her target, piercing Alpha's body with her sword. With that, the girl throws the sloth's body away, but at that moment, she realizes that she has also been hit by the creature's claws, and ends up falling to the ground due to blood loss. Worried, the youngsters run to their friend, and while they try to stabilize her injuries, they realize that Alpha is still alive, and has managed to get Zenny's katana. Just as it is about to finish off its victims, the sloth is surprised by Madison, who managed to survive the attack in hospital, and used the gun that Emily found to hit the animal. Taking advantage of the fact that Alpha is about to perish, the president of the fraternity rushes to finish him off, but the mascot manages to wake up in time and escape the attack. Now that they're together, the university students are trying to find a way to escape the place, and Emily tells them that they can't abandon Brianna so that she can be eliminated by the sloth. So the young woman decides to return to the sorority, and when she reaches the ballroom, she sees her colleague coming down the stairs with Alpha, who is standing over her head wearing the president's crown. Furious, Emily asks her sloth to leave Brianna alone, and the animal orders the young woman to throw down her weapon. Realizing that she has no other way to save her friend, the girl throws her sword away, only to be attacked by Alpha. Terrified, Brianna decides to run, abandoning Emily to be finished off by the macabre sloth. Alpha quickly grabs hold of the girl's neck and uses his claws to try to finish her off, but the young woman manages to grab her gun and tries to shoot the creature. However, the animal manages to avoid the attack, causing the object to be thrown away, leaving Emily completely defenseless. Wanting to eliminate her evil pet once and for all, the girl uses the president's crown as a weapon and hits the object on Alpha's head, managing to stun him. Desperate, Emily tries to crawl to the gun, and to stop her owner, the creature jumps towards her, but she is hit by the shots and is finally finished. At the end of the fight, the university student approaches her pet, who in her last breath, points in the direction of a picture of the Panamanian forest, revealing that all Alpha wanted was to return to his natural habitat. So what did you think of this movie? Leave it in the comments below. And if you liked the video, like and subscribe for more movie recaps. See you next time.